personnel policies were mailed out. I know back in February, Mr. Peterson, you had some questions on police. I don't know if you still do or not, but Chief Maxwell's here. Russell Thomas, our wastewater superintendent's here. In meeting with the league over the last 2 years, Mark Hayes, our legal counsel, says that we need to update personnel policies or approve them yearly. We can leave them the same, we just need to approve them. So what we're going to start doing each January, if there's no changes, I'll ask you to approve the personnel policy for 2014, 15, and so on. But those were mailed out in the form of disc for you guys to look at and review. And we'd just like to have a motion and a second to approve personnel policies.
I'd like to have some discussion.
Sure.
About the rest of it. I noticed in that it's taken out part of what we looked at and before. I don't know if anybody's had any time to read the 400 and something pages on the police policy or not. I've looked it over. Some of the problems that I have, and maybe it's just me, we don't give our employees of the city any notice that we do have a grievance and personnel committee. I'm not trying to get in people that run their departments and letting somebody go. What I'm trying to keep from doing is coming ended up in federal court and held revenue. And I think that if we have somebody that has a grievance, and it can't, and even though it may not be a grievance when we listen to it, then the council will be abreast of what's happening. And I don't know some of you where all you council members got called out right or not, but the deal we ran into was that most of us didn't know what was going on when we got over there. Other than the fact we were told we were going to be there till it was over with. I don't know how many of you were in on that little meeting or not, but it was, and I don't know about most of them, but we didn't know what was going on. So, you know, I'd like to see something where the people, our employees in the city understand that there is a committee set up with the city council members that they can come to. At least that way, when the grievance committee hears it and brings it to the city council, we know what's going on. We know whether we're going to be sued or whatever. I don't know what the rest of them think about that, but that's some of the things, something I saw in there that, I mean, we've got a committee, but it's not advertised evidently for our employees.
Does each department have the same, I don't know, process on which a person may be terminated? I mean, does it come to the chief or does it come to the mayor? I mean, what is the process on that? Anybody?
Would you like me to address that? The arrangement has always been that each department head has control of their employees and has the authority to hire and fire. If an employee is aggrieved by the action of their department head, then they have a right to appeal. The appeals are typically to the chief executive officer, in this case is the mayor. We actually hold a hearing, as we've done in the past. We advise the aggrieved employee that they have certain rights and they can have an attorney present. We make a transcript. They can present any evidence they want, both sides, and then the hearing officer, who again is typically the mayor, makes a decision to uphold or reverse the decision of the department head. We have in the past, on occasion, although I don't think we're required to, use the committee of the council to act as the hearing officer. That's a somewhat cumbersome process to use, and that's why we've not used it. As far as I know, there's been no effort to hide anything from anyone, because the media is also notified for those hearings, those appeal hearings. And there's a record.
Well, I wasn't trying to leave the impression that it was hidden from me. I'm just leaving the impression that I didn't know.
I understand.
And I'm not trying to get in the grievance policy, but if they go through that policy and they're still, then at least if they come to this committee, then they can inform the city council that, you know, we may end up, they may get a lawyer, whatever, but we know what's going on.
Well, at what point does the employee have access to the grievance committee?
Since I've been mayor, and the employees that have either been terminated, or Mr. Bell has always contacted them by letter request a grievance hearing. We notify them of that right. If they want a grievance hearing, we have it. Like Mr. Bell said, it's with their attorneys if they choose to have it. Every employee, as I told a couple of council members today, we don't hire people to fire people. We document everything. There are multiple write-ups, there's files kept. We're not just gonna run out there and hire somebody and hire them and then fire them. We're gonna have the paperwork in order. That's one thing that I've done my whole life, is you have a file. You have something to back you up, what you talk about, when you talk about it. I'm not gonna get us in that shape. With respect to what Mr. Peterson said, I think the department heads should continue to hire and fire their people because they work them daily. I can assure you that the department heads that we have are not looking for there to be another El Dorado. I know the one department head that had to deal with that, he reminds me of that month. He doesn't want to go through that, and we're not going. The T's will be crossed and the I's will be dotted as long as I'm here. Mr. Bell's our city attorney, I'll assure you of that.
So right now, the process is that you make a phone call or as the person that the, as the officer, the person that's in charge of the meeting when they have a grievance?
That's correct.
So what does the grievance committee, is there not a grievance committee that, the council is part of or?
I don't believe there's a committee that can overturn a department head's decision on the hiring or firing of an employee. And I don't question the department head's hiring of an employee because they've done their homework and they know what they're getting.
Well, and I'm not trying to imply that we want to overturn it, but just to make sure that they get a fair shake.
Well, I respect that, but I'll assure you they do. And I trust our department heads, with the exception of Kim just coming on board last year. I reported, I want to say it was like 226 years combined years, and we've got some great people. And again, I'll say, policy is in place. Every employee gets a copy of it when they're hired. They know exactly what the policy is. And again, we're not looking to hire to get rid of it.
So, where did the grievance committee, if we've used it in the past some, just where did it come
I
from?
think under past administrations, there have been mayors who chose not to assume the role of hearing officer, didn't want to, and therefore they would defer, as the mayor has a right to do, to a committee of the council. You can see that gets somewhat cumbersome when there are multiple people trying to schedule and ask questions and conduct any kind of hearings. It gets very cumbersome. But in the past administrations have deferred that authority to a grievance committee so that they can make the decision.
Technically, it's not in writing or in the policy anywhere that we have to do that. It's in writing that it goes to the mayor, but the mayor has the option to defer to a committee that.
You know, to tell you the truth, I haven't gone back and looked.
Yeah, I'm just curious what, you know.
But I don't think that it mandates, I don't think disciplinary hearings in any policy mandates a hearing before the grievance committee of the council.
Yeah, that's what.
I think it does mandate that they have what is called a name clearing hearing, so they can present any evidence. But I don't think it's mandated that it has to be before the grievance committee.
And we don't have a grievance committee right now. Would it?
This would be,
Did we print one this year?
yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the reason
Okay.
who serves on that?
Yeah, who serves?
That's the chairman right there. I think Kim is on it, Larry Talley, and Neil Cheatham.
So again, where does the grievance committee fit in? Within the process?
If it's not in the policy, we just don't need to have it.
Well,
We always have it.
I mean, if we're gonna use it,
it has been used in the past where the mayor has chosen to defer as a hearing officer to the grievance committee. If for any reason the mayor had a conflict or just didn't want to assume that responsibility, he can defer it to the grievance committee.
I have a question for the council. Has there, any of you guys ever been called to a grievance hearing since you've been serving as council members? You guys are those too, aren't you?
We want to put it that way.
You know, well, I personally like it the way it is because I trust the department head when they come to me, and that's a last resort. And with respect to you guys, I would hate to pull you in on something that you not have all the facts, and I assure you that your department heads have done everything humanly possible not to have to terminate an employee. But I value their opinion. I would hate to see us get in a tug of war with our department heads, and I'm gonna say at this point, they've been right when they come to me. And I support their decision. But
And we support your decision also, you know, I was in that, really meeting, they do a lot of things that we're not having problems doing. And I would hate to see us, we got to do something like that.
I don't wanna leave the impression that I'm questioning them letting somebody go. What I'm getting at is that if it happens, and if it gets to the point that, and it doesn't, it could be the committee that's over there, I mean, it doesn't have to be the grievance committee, but what I'm getting at is if it gets to the point where after they get through you, they're still not satisfied, and I guess my big deal is that somewhere down the line, I'd like to know about it before somebody stops me in the street. Yeah, I guess is where I'm coming from on this deal. And I go back there, right, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we were kept in the dark, that's just the way it was. We didn't have all the facts when we got over there. And that, nothing would have changed the facts probably anyway, but at least we'd have known what we were there for, and what the final outcome maybe not was gonna be, but where we had to go with it. And I guess I'm not trying to question fire, that's their job, they need to hire them, they need to fire them. I don't wanna get into that.
all right, well, let's do this. What would y'all say the next time we have to terminate an employee or they request a grievance hearing, you guys come and set? As of now, Mr. Bell, am I correct, the policy is still with me as their last?
My understanding is with you unless you defer.
Okay.
I would even suggest not necessarily that, but maybe just notification that there was a grievance hearing, as opposed to trying to get a whole committee together, just we'll notify, you're still the final say, but we get notice that there was a.
I don't have a problem you being the final say,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But if it gets past that and they're still gonna do something, then somewhere down the line, I'd like the facts so I can back up everybody what happened. I know it's still their responsibility, and that still needs to be their responsibility. I'm not trying to get in there hiring and firing. It's
I
not
have a
my job.
recommendation that might serve everyone's interest, and that is when we have one of these hearings, simply notify the council that it will be conducted at a certain date on a certain time, and anyone who wants to attend and stay informed is welcome to do so.
Whether you serve or not.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that. And not to the capacity to sit in there and get in the middle of it, but
Right.
just to see what's going on, so when, if we get in that situation, at least somebody comes up and gets, and I know everybody gets stopped in public about everything, that we at least could have a knowledge, if we want it,
I think it's an excellent idea.
what's going on.
And then just anybody come, yeah. And, I wanna say this hit the table in November of last year when this was discussed. I know more than Councilman Peterson was, jumped at the post office. And you guys have been great at it, but if you'll give me 5 minutes a week, I'll tell you everything going on. If you'll make that phone call, I'll keep you updated. And if it's something that I see that's major in your ward, I do that anyway. I know y'all are busy, I know you have jobs, but if you'll give me 5 minutes a week, or if you have a question, as I've said before, each of you have my cell phone number. I don't care when you call me. If it concerns the people of the city, you call me, I'm all over it, no matter what the time of day or night.
Like I said, I have respect for people running departments, and it's their business who they hire and who they fire. I just wanna make sure that we're abreast of what, if we get that far down the line, which generally I'm sure we don't. When you fire somebody, but there is that one occasion.
Is this something that we need to amend the policy agreement to partially review?
I don't think it's necessary. All you're asking, you're simply informing the mayor that you want to be informed of those hearings in the future. I think the policy needs to be
And the other thing I'd like to have clarified, and the mayor probably can clarify this for me, I noticed in the policy that any policy changes after we approve this policy will be made without the council approving. And I don't know if we're talking about major policy changes or just, I mean, you may clarify that for me, Mayor, where we put that. I can't remember the section now, but there's a couple of sections in there that says that after we approve this policy, any policy changes can be changed without notifying the city council, or it doesn't say notify the city council.
Seems like there's a state statute that addresses that. It's supposed to be
I was
approved
gonna,
by the.
I was gonna say, I would much rather come back to y'all and let you approve or disapprove the personnel policy.
Well, I mean, simple will change, but I'm thinking if it's something major, then as we're asked to approve this policy, I'd just like to be informed if we're making major changes in the policy.
If we can do this, let the record show that upon approval of this personnel policy tonight, if any changes to the personnel policy from any of the three that are being approved tonight will come before the council, and you guys can say yea or nay.
Did the police policies specifically address the grievance issues? I don't recall anything in the wastewater. I got through most of it.
Well, most of the grievances, and there again, that's the chief's job, goes to the chief. I don't think if it goes beyond that, it does, and anything goes to the mayor. If it goes past the chief and whoever makes the grievance, it's the chief's responsibility, and I respect that. I think, and you mayor may keep it straight on this, that if it goes past the chief and they want to have a grievance, they can come to the mayor. Is that?
That's correct.
And it's the same situation. There again, I don't want to be making policy, and I don't want to be hiring fire people, but if we get in a situation where we're going to get our backs to the wall, I like to know, and what Ronnie said suits me. I mean, that's fine. If we're notified of it, then the ones that want to come, we've got time, want to go up there, and we're not, and if they don't, then if they didn't want the information.
The thing about it that often concerned me was that if the mayor has the final say, and then after they finish with him, the next step is go to an attorney. If it's a suit, that's gonna bring all of it.
Well, no, when they come before me, they've got an attorney with them.
What's been the norm?
That's been the norm since I've been mayor.
And I think it says that possibly they have a right to have an
That's right.
attorney and any witnesses that they want to bring with them.
Is it imminent to pass this tonight? I'd like a little more time to read through the first one, to get a chance to, got through about 70 or 80 pages of a slow reader.
Well, our
Is it
existing
always-
policy will remain. I think there are a couple of changes in the police policy that would be adopted if you approve it tonight. But we've still got a policy that stays in effect until you change it.
Right, we're not running without it. We just need to get on that yearly approval of the
And
personnel policy.
I didn't read it all, but I'm pretty sure that the part that one of the objections I had was the citizen riding around in a patrol car that an individual took home. I think it's gone. Right, chief? Or did you leave it in there? I'm sorry, there was a section in the first one you put out that if you have an officer take a patrol car home.
Not a patrol car, but like CID has
Yeah.
a unit that they take home.
In,
They're on call 24 hours a day. They're subject to call 24 hours a day. They may have a family member in the car with them. Is that okay?
yes, family member, but I think the first policy, you correct me if I'm wrong, when I read the first one in there, they could have a next door neighbor with them.
Yes, sir, that's been changed.
Yeah, okay, I didn't see it in there
To
anymore.
a family member,
No, you can't.
significant other, because a lot of our officers, the CID officers aren't married.
Yeah, right. No, I don't have a problem with that. I had a problem with the next door neighbor wanted to write up time.
Yes, sir, I
when they
changed.
call. You know, that was in the first one, and that was the only thing that I had an objection to now. No, I have no problem with what you're talking about.
Any other comments? I'll go back to, is there a motion and a second to approve personnel policy? Hearing none, the personnel policy will stand.
You're just not adopting any changes. Now,
Okay.
you've got three policies that you brought forward. One is the police, the other is wastewater, and the third is administrative. And so you need to break those into threes and see if there's the desire to delay all of them or adopt any of them or not. And so what you need is a motion to approve one at a time. Is there a motion to approve wastewater, city general, police?
Now, when you
Can
say
I-
to approve, we could just table it till next month.
Table all of them or any of them?
Because if we don't do any motion, then it's just.
Well, it is effectively tabled. Nothing happened.
Right.
But there's no motion to approve.
Can I ask this, is this a totally different, police personnel policy, or can we not get a copy with the changes that are highlighted?
The copy I had, I thought my changes were highlighted.
The one unless I don't see any changes, but I didn't notice, but that would make it a lot easier
I agree.
if we just had a copy that highlighted the changes. I mean, we've already approved the old policy, then we just need to review the changes and be done with it.
And it's my understanding there are no changes in the wastewater, unless I'm not mistaken, or the
City general.
city general. I think those are the
Yeah.
same policies we've always had, but municipal league recommends that we review and approve them annually.
And we'll start doing that each January.
That's how we do it in the bank. We just, we have a loan policy. When changes are made, I send it out with highlights. The board reviews it. They have a problem with the changes, we fix them. If they don't, we approve it, and we're done.
What's the wishes of the council?
This table is pending a new disc with the highlighted changes on all three.
There's a motion to table with highlights on changes of all three. Second.
But two shouldn't have any changes.
That's right.
Well,
Two doesn't have no changes yet.
Yeah.
So we're only talking about the police.
Talk about the police.
Let's go ahead and.
And I want to throw in that, I mean, now that we've got the deal settled about if you want to come and see the grievance committee, then the other two, I have no problem with.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're all abreast of what happened, so that was my deal on the grievance part.
What about the other two?
Yeah, I'm
I like a
Now,
motion,
go ahead, Mr. Peterson.
I make a motion that we approve the administrative and the wastewater, policies.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the administration and wastewater policies. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to table these policies.
There's a motion. Oh,
They do, you're right, there are some highlights in here, so we've got the copy that has highlights in it.
Okay.
Well, I guess you don't scroll down, look at page, whatever you do, it's in there, this is 53. Keep looking through there, you'll see it.
Yeah,
We've got time to do 400
400.
pages tonight.
Let's check it out real quick. So we don't need a new deal, we just need to review the changes. Changes are highlighted in it.
Motion to table, please.
there's a motion to table the police policy, second by Mr. Cheatham.
Second.
Y'all, I've already got that second. Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Y'all please review that before we meet in May. I'm lost. All right, next month, we're going to approve police policy. And from there on, in January, we'll approve policy if there's no changes. If there's any changes, we'll make you aware of it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Waller, it's your turn to read a resolution regarding street aid.